Well, hello there, friends. I'm coming to my journal today with a lot of anger and frustration and big emotions that I need to deal with. And I know I need to deal with them, which is why I've taken some time out to come to God in my art journal. And I'm just throwing some colour on the page. I started with a soft pastel in the blue, and now there's a kind of deep red colour. My intention when I'm choosing these colours and making these marks is not to make something pretty, not to make something calm and cohesive. Today I'm kind of like just in the mood to destroy stuff, really. Like, this is my equivalent of throwing a plate at the wall. I'm wrecking a page in my journal instead. I'm deliberately choosing quite contrasting colours that are going to kind of clash and make a mess on the page. And you could see I was doing some little finger printing then, and making some dots with my fingers here, and almost as soon as I started doing that, I felt the phrase "point the finger" pop into my brain, and that was quite interesting. I mean, I often do use my fingers for applying paint onto the page. It's not unusual, but this phrase just kind of really jumped out at me, and I'm like, yes, I am pointing the finger. This person who I'm cross with has really caused us a load of trouble. It's cost us thousands of pounds. They're not apologetic in any way, and there's absolutely nothing I can do about it apart from seethe and be cross. If we haven't met before, my name is Jenna Byrne, and I help people encounter God through mixed media art journaling. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe to my channel, give it the thumbs up, and leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. So here I am getting all those emotions out on the page, and as anyone who is watching who've done this before will know, as soon as I start moving that paint around, I start to calm down and feel a little bit more rational about the situation. So I actually let that dry naturally. I had to go and collect the kids from school, and as I was driving over to school, I had the idea of actually writing down the wrongs that I felt I had been done. I felt like that was what the Lord wanted me to do, was to really try and express what it was that this person had done wrong. So I'm doing that now. I'm sort of scribble writing, trying to be very specific about how I feel that they've wronged me. And it's things like, they said they would do something and they didn't. They didn't really think about the impact of their actions on me. They took more from me than they deserved, perhaps. So without going into the circumstances of what went on, I tried to be really specific about what these wrongs or these sins were that this person has committed. And then on the left-hand side of the page, I felt moved to confess where I had done similar things, where I had made. Can I think of an example of where I've made a promise and not kept it, for example? Can I think of an example of where I've taken more than I should and perhaps been greedy about something? And this completely flipped the whole situation on its head, and I realised pretty soon that I was just as guilty as this person that had offended me so much. And I'm thinking of the verse where Jesus says, it's in Matthew 7, verse 3-5, "Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, 'Let me take the speck out of your own eye,' when all the time there is a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye." So I wanted a picture of a figure so that I could put a plank in their eye. As you can see, I've tore this lady out of a magazine, and I am going to use a piece of collage paper to blank out her eyes to remind me of this Bible verse, and that when I go to point the finger at other people, I should remember that I am far from perfect, and that Jesus has saved me from all these sins and worse when he died on the cross, and when I accepted his forgiveness for myself. So I'm sticking on this lady, and the piece of collage paper that I was going to use, I chose initially because of the colours, matching the colours that had turned up on my page, but it has these little birds flying around on it. I absolutely love that paper, actually, and it just reminds me of freedom, the word freedom, and I think that's really interesting that basically the Lord was saying to me that as angry as I am, unforgiveness is just a form of bondage, and I am not called to live in bondage. I'm called to be free, and free indeed in Jesus, and free from being chained up in anger and bitterness and unforgiveness. So it's really important as Christians that we do the work of trying to come to a place of forgiveness with people who have wronged us. And so the page had these words, "A prayer for this season," on, and I didn't want to rip them out because I just thought I'd have none of my ladies' head left. So that was an invitation for me to actually write a prayer on the page. And so I wrote these words. I wrote, "Release me from the burden of unforgiveness into freedom." And that was my prayer. And I'm already feeling so much better about this situation, I can tell you. I'm adding some little marks to the page now with a paint pen, and I always love adding little crosses to a page because it's the opportunity to come back to the very foundation of our faith, of our hope, which is Jesus, his death and resurrection. And without that, I am not forgiven. Those sins that I confessed would still be on my head, and I would have to answer for them. And it is only because Jesus took those sins on his body on the cross that I get to enjoy this forgiveness and freedom. Felt like the page needed an extra little something, and I decided to have a little bit of an experiment with this gold leaf that I have bought. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I think you probably are supposed to use a special glue, a size or something like that with gold leaf. I just had a go with Pritt Stick, which you'll see in a minute was pretty much not very successful at getting it stuck onto the page. And then I go back in with some matte gel medium, and that worked a lot better for gluing it down onto the page. This isn't real gold leaf, I don't know what it is, it's just some cheap stuff, so that might be having an impact as well in terms of how easily it wants to transfer. But yes, with a bit of, I put a little very, very thin layer of gel medium on the page, and it seemed to stick well to that. And the reason I wanted to add some gold is that a number of times in the book of Proverbs, wisdom is referred to as like silver or gold. For example, Proverbs 3:14 says that she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies. Nothing you desire can compare with her. Her being wisdom. And I was thinking about how precious God's wisdom is on the topic of forgiving other people. It is so countercultural. It is so opposite to what the world would say. The world would say that you should have retribution, that things should be fair, that maybe even you should seek revenge. But God's wisdom to garden your own heart and pull out the weeds of unforgiveness is such wisdom. We don't want to live with that sickness in our lives. We need to pray for healing and freedom from unforgiveness in our lives. And I know that's like a big thing to say. I mean, like, really, what's happened to me, it is annoying, but it's, you know, it's small fry probably compared to what some of you have experienced in your lives, the wrongs that have been done to you. But I do pray that God will show you a way to be free from holding on to unforgiveness. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today as I have worked this through in my art journal. Please do like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. God bless.